Today we're going to be taking a look at the GTX 1060 6GB. This GPU definitely has a legendary status in the PC gaming community, mostly because of the value and performance it offered when it first launched. Now to dig into a little bit of the history of the GTX 1060, the 6GB model came out in July of 2016 for an MSRP of $249, although Nvidia charged $299 for the specific Founders Edition. A cheaper 3GB model followed for $199, giving PC gamers two pretty affordable options depending on your budget. Now, something that a lot of you might not know about the 1060 is that the 3GB version wasn't only half the VRAM, but it had slightly less CUDA cores. Now, we're testing the 6GB model today, which is definitely the better version, and with 6GB of VRAM in 2016, that was more than enough. And it's just wild to me too that the previous generation 60 series came with 2GB and a 4GB version, and we more than doubled that with the 1060. And then with the release of the other 60 series, the RTX 2060, that one was still at 6GB. And then with the release of the RTX 3060, we got another massive leap in VRAM, going from 6 to 12GB. And then going to the RTX 4060, where it's dropped down to 8GB. And then to the RTX 5060, where it maintains the 8GB of VRAM. You would think that after nearly 10 years later, 12 gigs would have become the new normal. Instead, it almost feels like we're going backwards. Now, getting back on track to the GTX 1060, it wasn't only impressive because of its VRAM, Nvidia also advertised it as offering GTX 980 level performance, while using around 120 watts and only requiring a single 6-pin power connector. The 1060 also launched during one of the best periods we've ever had for budget graphics cards. AMD had just released the RX 480, starting at $199 for the 4GB model, and $239 for the 8GB model. That meant you could choose between the RX 480 or GTX 1060 and get a legitimately great 1080p gaming experience without spending anywhere near flagship money. The competition between AMD and Nvidia was great for gamers, and both cards ended up becoming some of the most recognizable GPUs of all time. The GTX 1060 also stuck around for a ridiculously long time. It became the most used graphics card in the Steam hardware survey around 2017 and continued holding that position for years, even after multiple newer generations had been released. Plenty of graphics cards sell well, but very few become the card that seemingly everybody either owned or knew somebody who owned. I remember one of my best friends buying a GTX 1060 back in the day, and it could play basically everything the two of us wanted. I had the GTX 1070 and played primarily at 1440p, while he used his GTX 1060 at 1080p. For someone gaming at 1080p, the GTX 1060 was pretty much everything they needed. It was more affordable, efficient, didn't require some massive power supply, and offered enough performance to play nearly every major game available at the time. But that was 10 years ago. Games have become far more demanding, so let's go ahead and find out just how well the GTX 1060 holds up in 2026. Now, before we get into the benchmarks, let's go ahead and take a quick look at today's test bench. For the CPU, we're using this awesome little Minisforum CPU and motherboard combo that comes with the AMD Ryzen 9 7945HX, which has 16 cores, 32 threads, and runs on the Zen 4 architecture. It has a base clock of 2.5 GHz and boosts all the way up to 5.4 GHz. It features 64 megabytes of L3 cache. Now, to pair with this CPU, we have two 48 gig sticks of DDR5 memory running at 5600 mega transfers, so more than enough CPU power and more than enough RAM for this test bench. Now for the star of today's show, we have the GTX 1060 6GB, which is running on the Pascal architecture and features 1280 CUDA cores, with a base clock of 1506 MHz and a boost all the way up to 1708 MHz. It also features 6 GB of GDDR5 memory running on a 192-bit memory bus. So let's go ahead and quit the yapping and get straight into the benchmarks. The first game we're going to be taking a look at today is Forza Horizon 6, running on the high preset at 1080p, and we ended up with an average of 34 FPS, which for me, a casual Forza Horizon player, is totally playable. It has a very nice graphical fidelity and a very respectable frame rate, though you can definitely get more frame rate out of this if you drop down the settings. It still looks very good at low and medium. For me, I'll take the higher graphical fidelity, as we probably won't reach anywhere near 60 FPS, so I'd rather it just look good and run at a constant 30. But that is the beauty of PC gaming, you get to choose. Next up we have Fate Keeper running on the low preset at 1080p. And this game looks so gorgeous, even at the lower preset. And we ended up with an average of 48 FPS. Here in the beginning, it's a little bit easier to run as there's more open spaces. But once we got towards this house and there was a lot more objects loading in, we definitely saw a much lower FPS. That's how we ended up with the average of 48. But considering this GPU is nearly 10 years old, this is a totally passable experience, even at 30 FPS. Now here we have our graders running at 1080p on the high preset, and we saw an average of 40 FPS, which again is a totally playable experience, especially when you consider the age of this GPU. I still can't believe how much it holds up in 2026, and a lot of you out there, and especially me, could still use this as my main card today. This game is also very well optimized, and that's definitely helping out this GPU. Looking at Mortal Kombat 1 here, we got an average of 57 FPS on the medium preset at 1080p. For a fighting game like this, if you're a casual player, this frame rate is totally acceptable, and even if you're more of a competitive player. Now for me, playing through Mortal Kombat 1, I could totally play it at 30 FPS, as I'm not a crazy player, and I prefer the higher graphic fidelity. Taking a look at one of my favorite titles, we have Mount and Blade Bannerlord 2 running on the high preset at 1080p, where we saw a very acceptable 71 FPS. If you are wanting to play this title on the GTX 1060, make sure you have a good CPU to pair with it, as this is a very CPU intensive game as well. And once you get into the late game where there's more sieges and a lot more NPCs on the screen, you'll see a lower frame rate than what is shown here. But I'm definitely happy to say that Mount and Blade Bannerlord 2 is totally playable on this GTX 1060. Here we have Cyberpunk 2077 running on the medium preset at 1080p, and we saw a pretty rough average FPS at 38. Now you guys know me, 38 FPS is totally playable for me, but in actual real world gameplay, when it comes to Cyberpunk 2077, it's going to be more like 30 to 31, and in more intense environments, it's definitely going to be at around 25. So for Cyberpunk 2077, you're going to want to drop the preset to low to get a more playable experience. Now, if this was my only GPU I owned, and I wanted to play Cyberpunk 2077, I would just drop this to 720p and either keep it at medium or even go to high, and you'd probably see a much better FPS than what we're getting here at 1080p. Here we have BeamNG running on the high preset at 1080p, and we got an average of 50 FPS, which I will take any day. Now this isn't a super hard to run title, but it definitely pushes a lot of GPUs to their max. Thankfully for the 1060 here, it crushed BeamNG, and if you're wanting, again, more than 60 FPS, just lower the settings. Taking a look at Grand Theft Auto 5 Enhanced Edition on the very high preset at again 1080p, we saw an average of 76 FPS. And this really goes to show the GTX 1060's strong suit. We can get a well above 60 FPS experience on these older great titles. Now if you're wanting to play a lot of these older titles, you can go with some cheaper alternatives, like the AMD R9 290, which is way cheaper than the GTX 1060 is going for right now. But if you're wanting to stick with Nvidia, this is a great option. And if you're still using a GTX 1060 in 2026, you're an absolute legend, and I applaud everybody who uses these older budget cards and can still make it work. Now today we're going to be only taking a look at one esports title, as it can run pretty much any game out there, including Fortnite, Rocket League, but Counter-Strike 2 is definitely the harder competitive game to run out of those two other options, at least specifically when it comes to the graphics card, and we're running Counter-Strike 2 at 1280 by 960 on the lowest preset with shadows enabled, and we have a very competitive experience with a 217 FPS average. So if you exclusively play these more competitive titles, you can totally get away with utilizing a GTX 1060 even in 2026. Now, one of my favorite titles to test that really push any GPU to the max is Arma Reforger, and here we're running it at 1080p on the low preset, where we saw an average of 32 FPS. Now, if you play Arma Reforger for more of the PvE experience, 30 FPS is totally acceptable. And my buddy back in the day, me and him used to play so much Arma 3, and he used the GTX 1060, and I used the GTX 1070, and we still had a very great experience even then. I know that's a little bit easier of a title to run, but we still saw about a 30 to 50 FPS average even there. So Arma Reforger is a total pass for me, as long as you're only playing PvE. Now, in conclusion, the GTX 1060 is a legendary card, and it still holds up even in 2026, with the biggest downside of owning the GTX 1060 is the lack of driver support. And it really is unfortunate that they dropped driver support for these, as these cards still hold up in 2026, but they're really trying to push those AI features down all of our throats. And if this is the only graphics card I could own, I could totally get away with using it. There's so many great titles that can be played on it, especially these older titles. You'll have zero issues running those at a very respectable frame rate. However, if you're wanting to buy one of these in 2026, I'd recommend going for the AMD R9 290, and you can check out Budget Build's recent video on it, and it just goes to show that you can get more price to performance with some of the older AMD GPUs compared to Nvidia. If you do go the AMD route, definitely ensure you have a bigger power supply than what you'd use for the GTX 1060. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I really do hope each and every one of you enjoyed it. And if you do enjoy this kind of content, go ahead and check out the card in the middle of your screen. I'm sure you'll enjoy that in video as well. You can also subscribe to see more of my videos or become a member to see some more exclusive videos. Thank you again, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.